So today we're doing another behind the scenes. It's something I give my clients just for fun. It's a little business reading from your human design chart. And today we are doing a 3-5 generator named Esther. So again, your chart does not tell you the exact role or the business niche you need to pick. You have the free will, you get to do that. It does tell you what your special sauce is, how you approach that role, and useful stuff for like your content themes and messaging and positioning. Okay? So, yeah, Esther has her own niche, but specifically how she's going to approach that. Her role in the workplace is to teach people how to influence others through their presence and their words. Now, Esther happens to be a stay-at-home mom with a very large family, and she always felt like really strongly called to motherhood, but she didn't necessarily know why. Like she liked doing a lot of other things, but she really felt I'm not supposed to have a career right now. I'm supposed to have a large family and raise them all really well. And then we see that her role, her vocation is to teach people how to influence others, in other words, leadership, how to have good leadership. So in reality, her family is this phase of her vocation because you can change your jobs and roles, but it's actually coinciding perfectly with this large family thing. So she's able to do so effectively, to show servant leadership effectively, when she's aware of all the ways that the shadow of not speaking up or pridefully manipulating people has shown up in her life to date, and chooses to use those experiences as a gift and not be a victim to them. Okay? So, in other words, you think of servant leadership, then there's prideful leadership, and there's totally staying quiet and not leading at all. She's gone through all of that. Therefore, she can lead her children through this as well. Now, her special sauce is not just influence and leadership, it is helping people find the hidden lesson in addition to practicing servant leadership. Okay? Because what her kids may not necessarily expect, I say kids, but this will be anything she does for vocation, is she embraces all aspects of life and holds the full emotional spectrum. And any other mother knows when you're raising a bunch of kids, you need to embrace just everything that went on. You got spit up on, whatever, they're late, they crashed their car, whatever, you've got to embrace all the aspects and you have to be able to hold the full emotional spectrum. In other words, you have to hold their emotions and you have to be able to hold yours as well to not explode on them, right? So her unique aspects go perfectly in this. Also, the thing about finding the hidden lesson, because what are we doing as parents except that character training? And do you see what went on here? Do you see what your takeaway could be here, right? Now, her vocation becomes a source of prosperity, because again, this is a business reading, so we're doing it from that lens, but she brings in money when she gives away her gifts freely and keeps believing her ideals. So maybe she'll do a different kind of mentoring. Maybe she's going to have a side business. Maybe this is just about how she helps the family bring in money, but her prosperity comes when she's just freely giving, mothering, helping, leading, guiding, and she sticks to those ideals, which in her case might have been the ideal of I feel like staying home, not having a career, even though people just keep telling me I should. I'm just like, I really, really want to have a big family. I don't know, I just do. Okay. But she keeps giving away her mothering, her parenting freely. I don't know, maybe she takes in foster kids, something. So she gets even more generous. The more people are like, oh, I don't know, maybe you should gatekeep that. She's no, no, no. She goes over and above and beyond because she can see the big picture for ideals. It's almost like she's being a parenting philanthropist, right? Or a character philanthropy. Now, she has a unique angle as a mother in this vocation. It's what she would use if you were starting a business, like whatever it is. So currently with her large family thing, which is a balanced use of intellect and intuition. So she doesn't just read parenting books and go, okay, should all be this schedule. And she doesn't just lean into everything of just attachment-based parenting. She's actually blending both. Okay, that's how she parents and leads. And she adds humor. So she's not specifically like the authority figure and the buddy buddy person. What she is she's the funny mom. Okay. And that is actually how she's meant to be. I mean, I don't know that she could stop it, but essentially, it's full permission for Esther to like keep doing that as much as possible. Because if you fall into the over reliance for her, her trap is like just relying on intellect. No, no, no. She needs the humor and that intuition and heart, all of it, all three to combine. Now, visibility. For her, visibility happens when she shows altruism. Now, visibility, I don't know if that's visibility in people picking her to be a foster parent, visibility in terms of getting connections as a mom for her kids, I don't know, but it's altruism. That's how people notice and remember when they see that altruistic leadership. Like, oh, yes, that girl, yeah. And then the reason she picked the large family thing in the first place is she could find a hidden lesson. The higher purpose beyond that was freedom from materialistic attachment. Just like, no, I don't need to go for the highest paying job. I don't even need to be bringing in money. I want something that is away and apart from all of that. And I have freed myself from it. I'm going to stay home. Okay. It's all actually nurture. Right. Now, the lessons she's learned along the way, being a mother, hey, she may not be done being a mother. She may still be having babies, is deep delight, which really comes across when I speak to her of she is so lit up by all these babies and kids and what she gets to do with them, right? Now, what she likes to talk about is presence with a side of new ideas. She's always good at coming up with stuff. But what comes across most strongly when I talk to her is how she really wants mothers to lean into presence. You don't ignore your kids. These are these precious gifts. You want to spend time with them, nurture them to grow them, and that takes presence. So she's already leaning into her content themes, which also can just be like conversational recurring themes. And then people she needs to work with. Since this isn't precisely business, maybe it's other mothers she could help. They need to have the value of prioritizing themselves and finding their way in life. Okay? Because yes, Esther is a great leader, but she can only help someone else who's like, I'm going to prioritize myself as a mom. I'm going to figure out my way how to lead this family, what to do with them, with the kids. She believes in having that value as the self priority. So she's not going to jive well with people who are like, oh, yes, you're just such a martyr to your big family. She's like, no, right? And that's going to be an instant turn off in her mom's circle. So the people she will bring around her need to have those dual things of the prioritizing themselves and finding their way. Also, her friends are going to really appreciate the fact that she responds with graciousness. She is so kind, so tenderhearted, so loving. She almost intuitively tactful, always remembering them, asking how they're doing, noticing the new haircut, the new outfit. She enters into what they want to do, right? And then this is also really felt when she facilitates connections and partnerships and networking. She is just really a people person, and she's always hooking people up and putting people together. Oh, you love that kind of craft, and so does too. You should get together sometime. In fact, why don't you both come over to my house and we're going to do all this together, right? So she's really good at that. And she should not stop herself from all this connecting and partnering and networking stuff. Like that is actually how she's meant to be. And she does have to stop a tendency. Sometimes she might feel disrespected and undervalued as the stay-at-home mom, big family, whatever. In reality, she is like an expert mother in childcare, baby rearer. So when she works on that and moves through that, that's how she can feel like, oh, yes, of course I'm going to network because I have a very strong gift and I should be able to help people with that. I'm going to help people with that. I don't care if it's a stereotype or not. I'm going to do it. Now, before the age of 40, the other moms she's mentoring are ones who have a willingness to grow. They're like, I don't feel like I'm a great mom. I only have a 2-year-old, but I want to get pregnant again. So how am I going to, handle things when I've got more than one kid? She helps the ones who are just like, teach me, tell me helpful tips. I want to know what you know. After 40, which is where she is, she's moving to people who are looking for a higher purpose. The moms who are like, it isn't just about wiping bottoms, wiping noses. Like my kids are in high school, got some kids in college, got some kids in middle school. Like, how do I help them all live into this higher purpose? How do I see myself as facilitating their higher purpose? And she's like, yeah, I can help you do that because I'm a leader. That's fundamentally why I wanted a bunch of kids is to have my own little lab to lead people, right? Because the way she levels up as a mother and finds even new avenues and like new ways of dealing and mentoring with her kids and their characters as they hit each new phase and age is by embracing her own true nature and cultivating that zest for life. Oh, you want to go to the park? Great. Oh, now you're like, can we go to the soccer game? Sure thing. Like she has that zest no matter what age the kids are. And she keeps coming back to herself, her hobbies, what she finds fun to do. It just levels her up as a mother. It just somehow serendipitously does, right? Now, the income leveling up, again, maybe this is how she somehow supports her husband, gets him in the right mindset to bring in money. Maybe she's bringing up money with side hustles. I don't know. But what her chart says is that when she embraces every aspect of life instead of limiting herself, money comes in. So that could be side hustling. I don't know. And then the specific way she's meant to deal with money is just lean into trust, detach from the outcomes. In other words, she's good regardless of the number of the bank account. She's not like worried about the family budget. She's like, doesn't matter. There'll be enough money to take care of us. It'll be there. Right. Now, she also has some superpowers. A deep knowing that allows her to understand why things are the way they are. If you think of it, if you're going to lead and help kids, like you really need to understand. She also has the gift of learning through experience, which occurs when you're intentional how and when to start, how and when to finish and resolve things. In other words, every single parenting hiccup she goes through, she's like, oh, so that's how to deal with that for that kind of kid. And she just stacks to it. It's like this roster in her brain. She's like, oh, do that and this, do that and this, do that and this. And so it becomes this huge parenting expert with this wealth of knowledge and experience. And the third thing she's got is the ability to improve her position in the world or in her family's position through dedication and hard work. So that does touch on money, but she's going to be leveling up the family somehow. They're going to be climbing in status, financial well-being, something because of her hard work in servant leadership. Now, she also has a lot of centers that she's very high because, again, your chart doesn't tell you what you're going to do, but it does tell you that the exact work you need to do needs to include this. Or if you don't know how to do it yet, then you must learn how to do this to step fully into your career. So she's very high in the ability to deal with deadlines and pressure. Now, since her current vocation is the stay-at-home mom with a large family, this isn't so much the ability to leave work at work and handle a bunch of bosses pulling you in different directions. But you do have a bunch of kids pulling you in different directions with extremely urgent things. Whether or not they're high priority, I made a mess in the bathroom. I threw up on the floor. The pasta pot's boiling over. Like, you can get a lot of deadline pressure, stressy stuff as a mom. She's very, very good at just naturally being able to deal with that without it stressing her out. So, awesome. She's also very high in finding ways to help herself adapt to different career shifts or helping others adapt to career shifts. So, again, what it may mean is some of that leadership when her kids are teens, walking them through, oh, I thought I was going to be set on this and now I'm doing something else. Because she's had to do that herself. She went to college, she had a major, she became a mom, she wasn't using her thing, she started a side hustle, but she knows how to handle that sense of not having a fixed purpose and needing to adapt to the moment. Okay. She's also fairly high in developing ways to handle emotions. So both for herself and for all the kids, with how these babies and on up. She's not automatically an emotional person. So she's helping everyone like, how do you decompress? How do you say this wasn't mine to handle? How do you get some space and distance from a sibling or from your husband? Like, how do you do this? She's gotten really good at dealing with that, which of course you can imagine as a mother, you've got to be able to handle emotions. She's also fairly high in finding ways to express the right thought and idea for each situation. Communication isn't what she naturally considers her forte, but finding the right thing to say to each person, each child, each specific learning opportunity, that she has learned how to do. Because if you think about it as a leader, you have to express, you have to communicate. It's just a given, right? So she's overcome the challenges of not being the person who's automatically just blah, 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 and really finding out what does that person need to hear, and then letting that come out of her in an expression of leadership by speaking it. Now, there's also an environment, a type of place that is going to set her nervous system at ease, where her best ideas for the parenting come, where the right opportunities with all the networking find her. She needs to work where she can watch people, have options, so hopping around, working in the coffee shop, whatever. And then she's going to be someone who enjoys moving. She's fond of traveling, likes to go see multiple new locations. So she's very flexible. She loves new experiences. So for Esther, she needs to make sure that there are always like people and distractions and choices around, both in like her home life and in the like sense of travel, and like she's not gonna want to stay in one state. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was our 3-5 generator, Esther, and that was her mini business reading adapted for being a stay-at-home mom.